I'm waiting, still waiting for someone to come home to me. But it's fading, that feeling. I just wanna believe, but I just need to know that someone knows how this feels. And I just need to know that the feeling is real. And so I keep waiting through the depths of this doubt in my mind. Think I'm jaded, still seeking things not meant to find. But I just wanna know that I'm not alone. And I just wanna know, 'cause it's what keeps me going. And I may not see the point, there may be none at all, but it's the reach that keeps catching my fall. So all I know to do to remind me what's true is no, I know nothing at all. And so I keep waiting.
Welcome to Audio Carnage Podcast. We are here with Miranda Kennedy. Miranda, thank you so much for coming through the episode. How do you feel after performing?
I feel really sifted through, yeah.
That's a description I've never had before, but it's also a colorful description. So, what would you say when did you start performing originally?
When I was 14, I started playing at this Italian restaurant every Tuesday, and I made about $100.
Covers or originals?
An hour and a half. Covers mainly, and I had like 3 originals, but they were really cute. I don't play them anymore.
Where was that?
Where was that? Pilot Point, Texas.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, I know Pilot Point, especially growing up in Gainesville. So, what would you say that your favorite local venue is?
Oh,
local
to Denton?
Yeah, North Texas. Like Denton, is definitely in that aspect.
I would say the last one still barely standing, J&J's.
That is a common one on the podcast. It breaks my heart. It breaks everybody's heart. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
And
everyone's got memories and stake there, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of history there. When did J&J's actually open? Do you
It's like 24 years ago. Yeah, Jamie was, I think, 19, and Joe was like maybe in his like mid-30s or something, and they were working at Little Caesars, and Joe made such delicious food. They were like, fuck it, we should just open our own shop, and they did.
A little bit of investment and then move.
Yeah.
And a lot of years of a lot of love, because
it's just so deliberate, and I like that. I love that. I felt like this very familial energy there, and I know there's a lot of people there that aren't related to each other but act and are.
It feels like family.
You know, and a lot of, you know, you hear a lot of businesses try to be like, we're family, but it's that's like marketing tactics, but like there's some real shit that we don't like.
Well, so from the outside aspect, a verifying aspect of that is J&J's stayed open during the snowstorm, and
I worked
and that was not only that. So people who had vehicles who was like, all right, I can get out, but we can't get food at all. Yeah. It's like pizza, drive to the square, and you got and they had such a community.
That was
it's very stable.
Really. That was a really intense experience for everybody, I'm sure, but it was almost like spiritual for me. Like I was humbled by the fact that I could help, and I wanted to do even more.
Well,
I was like, whoa, like
it did a lot.
I get to help with this. Like I'm like, this is where the wholesome good feelings are. You know, like being able to like, I understood why they stayed open, because they could do it, and like anyone that worked got like a bonus. Like it was really cool.
Also the best pizza in the area.
It literally just is the most amazing pizza.
All right, so moving on, what would you say that your dream venue would be?
Oh, I'm gonna build my own one day.
Ooh, that's a good. I haven't had that answer. Do you have a specific area, or is it just?
I don't know where yet, and that's why I'm going to travel a little bit
more. So if we had to narrow the question down to specifically an existing or a dead venue, something that's already been in existence, so you have to play somebody else's venue.
Oh, one that's already existing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your answer was a solid answer to a question. Like, I've never had that specific answer.
I have a specific dream I'm going to build. It's going to be cool, but...
I hope to see it come. Hey, let me know. I'll come film it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess... Oh, maybe like Madison Square Garden.
I've gotten that a lot. I've gotten Red Rocks a lot. And honestly, Red Rocks is the one I personally want, just because, like... Playing some death metal to a mountain, that sounds
I mean, I do love... I just feel like Red Rock... I've been there a few times, and like, when there's not a show, you can actually get on the stage and just sing and dance your heart out.
I didn't know that they just like... Oh, that makes actually a lot of sense. Ooh, next time I go there, I'm going to bring some cameras.
Yeah, some people just go there and just like...
Well, like, I haven't...
When I went there was just like this ballerina dancing across. I was like, she's just playing for no one and anyone, you know. It was so beautiful.
I gotta go back to Colorado.
Yeah, we're gonna go through Colorado soon. I'm excited.
So, okay, so just looking through my list because I want to find a good question. So,
more sifting.
I'm sorry, I thought that was a storm for a second. What would you say some of your like more personal musical influences are for the kind of music you try to make?
If I've thought about this a lot more lately than I used to, and I think I've like really narrowed down my influences, where I realized where I really picked some stuff and some inspiration up from, is Nora Jones. She really helped me feel like sensual in myself, and like helped me feel like I can relate to something like that. And Regina Spektor, who helped me feel like I can express my clown self and shake it all off. And in Bright Eyes, he has helped me, like Conor Oberst has helped me cry, and to put that vulnerability into my music too.
When did you start playing an instrument?
When I was like 12, I got an electric guitar, and I just was like, I was obsessed with trying to figure something out. First thing I did was just like play the high E string, like, with like nothing. And then the first thing I learned was Sweet Home Alabama.
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, you learn how to play the D chord, you learn how to play some C, you learn how to play the G. Yeah, a little blues lick. How'd you get the guitar?
My step brother's band Dirty Americans.
Did you have any like family members that played music, or did you have any like musical influences as growing up that were like local, communal, rather than like because we all have like
yeah,
the
my
influences.
stepdad plays music and we would jam together, and he teaches music too, and he's the one who's like really taught me how to book shows and stuff, and how like I just like I think the reason why it came into my life is because I kind of like called upon it, though. Like I wrote songs and poetry and sang and stuff, like, and then just was really interested in playing with other people's instruments, you know what I mean? So I think that, you know, when they came traveling through, they were like, she should get a guitar. And then I kind of migrated, obviously, to the acoustic guitar, and yeah.
So, what's some of the band? I know you travel a lot, but what's some of the bands that you've been in over the past few years? Like some of the ones that like have stuff that's worth looking for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're all worth looking for.
Well, that's a very poor term. You know what I'm saying?
But like, I mean, because I was in a band in high school called Kingsville Manor, and that really helped shape my understanding of the music world, even though it was really rudimentary and very young, but like it was real, you know, like we were in Battle of the Bands, we booked shows, like, but I was low-key like 15 getting into bars and playing shows, you know, like
not super surprising.
It was tight as fuck, but like yeah, so I was able to kind of get a head start there, so I would never erase that from it, you know. But Lady and the Gentleman is a band that I started with Jared and Marshall and everybody else, and like we kind of like started it from this like.
Where was this?
Oh, it was in Boulder, Colorado.
Okay.
And we ran this like open jam for a while as a band too at Lazy Dog, and yeah, that's where I met Jared when he was running it, and then like in his other band, I think, and we just like kind of talked about making a band. We're like, oh, we could kind of like just look at how people play at the open jam and like kind of put people together, and like it was just kind of fun. We just like talked about it, but then it just happened. It was just like, oh, like we can actually do this, and it was beautiful until it kind of just it got too inflated for itself, and I felt very small. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was only like 22, you know what I mean? And like I was just starting to get a hold.
6, 7 years, 5, 6, 7 years ago?
6 years ago, yeah.
Okay.
It was just very much like, yeah, but like that was like also like fucking amazing though, because we got to travel around the country a little bit more to the like the west and south, but yeah, so that was Lady and the Gentleman, and I actually just have reconnected with like a few of the members recently, and yeah, we I mean, not I'm just being interviewed about my old bands, but like we lost Curtis just about a month ago, an old drummer.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and I just like my heart goes out to like his family and everybody in the community still out there. But that's like the beauty of music though, is that like what we connected on afterwards was something so beautiful, like us all together.
We're able to take something that's temporary and make something that's possibly a little immortal, like a little bit,
like what we were talking about earlier in the recording.
Exactly.
Like these clips and even this conversation is going to live longer than me. Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
Like someone's going to watch this maybe one day when I'm gone.
Well, I'm definitely
and you like, too.
I know for a fact whenever I get old and I'm like, you know, like I'm sitting there, you know, who knows, in a nursing home or whatever, I'll look back on these and I'm gonna be like, that's my grandson, that's my granddaughter. It's like that's not your grandchild,
that's
but
yeah. What's the difference though?
That's the point. It's a good memory.
Yeah.
All right, so moving to a lighter note, what is the first album that you can remember listening to on repeat? Like I'm talking like deep in your like childhood brain. Like the first one is like, ooh, I like that. Play again. Because we all have that feeling. Like every one of us has that feeling.
What is the Veronicas? What do you remember them?
I mean, I know the band. I just don't know which one or which album.
Oh, I don't know. It's just like these two twins, and they're from like twin sisters from.
Was it a
Australia.
vinyl? Was it a cassette? TC?
It was a CD. It was just it was just like a girl kind of like screaming poppy kind of thing with some melodic stuff. I can't even place it now.
Did you have?
I just felt like this like female liberation.
Is there any specific songs that you can remember?
I don't know. I was like a little kid.
No, well, that's kind of the point of this question. Is like, let's look into the blurry, like.
It's like, come on, baby, we gotta live forever. Let me show you all the things that we could do. And it's like,
that's actually a better, better.
I remember the music video. They were like putting their lipstick on, like real crazy, and just like kissing the mirror, and just like running into like swimming pools, you know, the whole like 11, 12-year-old dream, like when you sneak out and you want to
Ice cream to
so like, that's what you're asking me. That's if you're talking about the first time as like to really understand
here, to put it into context of the question, whenever my typical response, I've said it many times on the podcast. The first album I can remember listening on to repeat, I got a cassette player and I got a cassette with it, and that cassette was the Space Jam soundtrack. And so I remember, come on baby, dance, do the dance, it's Space Jam, all right. Like I'm talking like I played that so many times.
All right.
I jumped off my bunk bed as a 4-year-old, like thinking I'm Michael of Jordan, just to that. It's so dumb, but it's a memory that exists. That's the first one that I can remember.
Yeah.
All right, so I know we've already talked about pizza place, but what other jobs have you had other than being a musician?
I've been a door girl, a cocktail waitress, a bartender. I've worked in pet departments and pet stores a lot, and pet sitting.
What's been your favorite job?
I was a maid for a while. My favorite job?
Other than musician, obviously.
J&J's.
We have pizza. Like, that's my favorite venue to play because, like
to me, like, it just fits.
There's nothing, actually. Oh, somewhere on this table, maybe it's in that room. Actually, it is on that kitchen table. Carrick played J&J's the other day, and the best part about playing J&J's, you know this, is the beer and pizza tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able, I'll take one Lone Star, one slice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or
So
one like
amazing.
a Schlitz on a slice.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Oh, it breaks my heart. Now, so,
I know we're like.
so the only thing that I have to ask
It's
is
okay,
you have a
but
little bit of inside information. Do you know if they're planning when they open up in Gainesville doing music?
I feel like they will, but I don't know.
Well,
I didn't directly ask, but
so if you know them, like I can say this for a fact, I know a bunch of the people in Gainesville. There is a desperate music scene.
I think they know that.
If they have a stage, if they put a stage, they will have the whole crowd of Gainesville all the time. Like Gainesville is desperate for me a place to play. So like I'm excited about being able to the pizza, but I'm still like
I feel like they'll probably do that. Like,
well, if you talk to them, tell them that be like, hey, I heard that Gainesville's like, hey, put a stage in.
I wish I could just take J&J's with me to
Oregon. No. I mean, you could probably take 4 or 5 slices of pizza.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so.
Oh my god.
Alright, what is your favorite song of your own? If you had to pick one, I refer to this as the killing the baby section.
Waiting.
Waiting? Why?
Because it's one of my newer ones, so naturally I'm not sick of it. And also, it's inconclusive. It's more inconclusive.
Still waiting.
Mm-hmm. And I like that. There's something that's comforting to hear something that can recognize you in the liminal space, you know?
Most definitely. Alright, so what was the first song that we heard?
Waiting.
Ah, okay. So what is the second song we're going to hear?
Heaven Only Knows.
Any reference points or stories that we want to hear about that?
I wrote that one in 2020, and it was during a time that I was really heartbroken and confused, and the whole world, you know, like, was already confused and in the shitter, and like I was going through a breakup and kind of quarantined still, so like in my head I was like, how the fuck did we get here? You know? And I kind of tried to draw this, like, I don't know, just like my brain just drew this idea that like we're kind of all in this together even though we're so separate, you know, like, and so that's kind of what the song conveys, is that we'll all kind of get there in our own time, but we're all here even though we're all separate, and that's the duality, you know.
Alright, so we have heard Waiting, and we're going into Heaven Only Knows, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we will be right back. I am still Jared, and this is still Audio Carnage Podcast, and this is still Miranda Kennedy.
Figured there'd be some way, figured there'd be someday I'd figure it out, but then it'll come round again, and that inevitability, oh God, it's so daunting, it's always around the bend, 'cause it ain't about the end. Heaven only knows, how did I get here? The mirror is filled with smoke, and you still feel so near. Well, maybe it's for the best, yeah. Maybe this pain in our chests are there to remind us of what we forget to see, the duality of you and me, the illusion that we all live separately. Heaven only knows, how did we get here? Settle all the smoke, and it's still so unclear. Well, you'll take your time and I'll take mine. I'll meet you at the finish line. It's not a game to me when I can't foresee if the feeling will come back to me. Heaven only knows how you would get here. Just let me hold you close. I love you so dear.
Alright, welcome back to Audio Carnage Podcast. We're still here with Miranda Kennedy. That was Heaven Only Knows. So, Miranda, what would you say your favorite instrument brand is? Do you have one?
Oh, I like my Honer. They don't make guitars anymore, I don't think, but that's my oldest guitar that I have, and I've written almost all my songs on it.
Where'd you get it?
From my stepdad.
When that was not.
I think I was like 15 or 16. I think.
And you're 28, correct?
So 12 years ago.
Oh man, a linear progression of time. So, do you have any favorite books?
There's this book called Letters to a Young Poet, and it's kind of a collection of letters sent back and forth between Rainer Marie Rilke and I think that's what it was. Yeah, and some young student that was going to the same school that they went to when they were a young boy. And so they're just like asking for like life advice and like about like creativity and depression and poetry, and it's like it was from like I would say like early 1800s or something like that. I don't know. It was a long time ago, and it just was really it was really inspiring to see how ancient this ache and this worry to make sure you're doing the right thing and to make sure you're doing it well is, you know, whether that's in love or life or creativity or work or whatever, you know, like it's got a lot of really good advice in there, a lot of old wisdom in there, and it's cheeky. And I wrote that when I was like 20, probably 21. I don't know. Right about then, probably 21.
How'd you find it?
My friend sent it to me.
So would you say that you do you prefer to write in the studio, or do you prefer to write in the room? Where, like, would you rather be in a room if you were to be writing with musicians? Well, now granted the fact that you were a solo artist on a podcast, you talked about having been working with bands before, but would you rather be sitting there just writing solo by yourself, or would you rather be sitting there, if you have a band, would you rather be writing like with the drummer, with the bassist in the room, like creating it right there?
I don't know. I don't really think of like a rather. I'm not sure.
More consistently, has your products been created solo, or are you better at bouncing the ideas?
It's been pretty equal. Like I have been in bands, so we have like sat and been like, all right, so what should we do here and there? But like mainly in my life, like it just kind of like comes out like vomit, and I'm like, I have to pull over and like.
It's just gotta get this out.
And I record, and it's pretty much what it is. You know what I mean? It just kind of goes like, bleh. Like, and so like. It's kind of like, so that question is kind of funny. It's like, where would you rather throw up?
But you did give the answer.
That.
You give the answer to the question,
yeah.
Like, because some people are very like, no, I like to sit down and refine it. Like,
I would love to, but I get so distracted that it usually only comes out like.
The describing of driving down the road, just I gotta throw up. It's like, no, pull over, gotta do this. Just,
yes.
I understand that fully. That's a good description.
I really have to sometimes. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose it, you know. Like.
Alright, so if you could open for any artist, what artist would it be?
Oh fuck. Well,
alive or dead?
That's a loaded question, because it's like I want to meet certain artists that
Did I get it stoned beforehand?
I wouldn't want to open for like an artist that it doesn't like make sense to open for. But I would want to meet certain people. Okay, you know what I mean? So it's like it's a loaded question.
Two-part question, which I thought so the first part of the question is, what musicians do you admire? We'll go back to what musician you would like to open for. That is the specific question. Like, you as a musician, who would you like, like, what art or artist?
Probably Conor Oberst and Phoebe Bridgers. Better Oblivion Community Center. I think that would make sense, and I want to meet them most right now.
So what about just generalized musicians you admire?
Them too, and also, Nora Jones and Regina Spektor. Also, Dr. Dog. I really love Dr. Dog. And Wolf Peck. They're funky as fuck. I love them.
So, what's the worst gig you've ever played?
I don't know. Worst?
Yeah, worst.
I don't know.
Usually by the time people make the laugh, there's at least one in mind.
I'm trying. They all meant something to me. So.
Yeah, but you know what I mean by worst. It doesn't have to be like, oh, this wasn't a value. Sometimes like a bad gig is good in certain ways, but like you know what I mean by like worst. It's just like, oh, that did not go well.
Oh, there's this one time that this one cafe let me and this guy I was traveling with like play for them outside. It turned into like just nothing. We were like in the way. We just stopped.
So like, should we just not be here?
Yeah, that's what it felt like. We were travel idiots too. So it was like we were fine with it, but we were also just kind of annoyed.
So on the inverse, what's the best show you've ever played?
Best? I mean, best is hard. Because what I enjoy is connecting to the crowd, and sometimes that's just like perfect house show. Like the other night.
I'm talking about look back in your history of playing gigs and tell me what gig you feel like it has the most like impactful like look back on it. Like for me, I think it would be Cannibal Convention Mark 1. We have this heavy metal food drive that our heavy metal band puts on, and it's instead of paying for the show, it's you bring a couple of non-perishables, and we donate it to the local community food center. And we had a packed fucking house, and it was just crazy energy. Everybody's rocking the fuck out. I can remember a couple moments that were just like, this feels amazing, and it was just like I've played great shows before, but that was a moment that I was like, you know what, this is one for, put a pin in that.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's this one show that I played with, Lady and the Gentleman, at Fox Theater, and we were opening
Fox Theater where?
In Boulder, Colorado, and we were opening for the Main Squeeze, and it was, like, good. It was, like, technically, like, so huge and good, but I'm far away from that person now, so I don't feel it as viscerally as like what I'm feeling right now, like from a show I just played recently even, and it wasn't anything huge. It was important is what it was, and it was like Nova's birthday party, and it was a house show, and it was the first house show I've played since COVID happened, and I think it was probably the first house show that a lot of people have been to since then. And it was like just recently.
It wasn't that long ago.
Like a week ago.
Oh shit! Really close.
Yeah, and just recently when everyone.
So you were in Colorado very recently.
What? This wasn't in Colorado.
Well, I thought you said Boulder.
That other one.
Oh, okay.
Was in Boulder.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's technically what everyone would say, like, oh, a sold out show and stuff, but like, which is awesome.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about like personal.
What matters to me.
You said the right term. Visceral.
Almost every song that I played, actually no,
where was this?
Every song that I played, like half the room was either singing to it or crying, and I was crying, and like, and other people were just kind of like chilling and vibing, but I just felt like such a connection to the room that it wasn't like me above or anything. It was just like we were just like
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and like I didn't write a set list. I was just like going with. It wasn't a house venue. I was just like going like with the vibe and like choosing different songs just by the next one, and it just like felt like I was just so connected to it. And those are my favorite shows, the ones that like are just they just mean a lot. It's not some big like marketed thing, but it's just like people went in there and left like kind of changed or felt like connected or validated or whatever.
We're all working for the weekend, and it's nice to be able to have those nights where we go to a place and we're able to like enjoy just being around a crowd. Like, you might have your arm around some random person that you've never met, just shaking, just like, yeah! You're covered in sweat, you're covered in beer.
Like, feel it.
But it's a wonderful feeling. So, where was that show? The most recent one that you were talking about?
It was at someone's house. It was just...
Where? Here in Denton?
Yeah, here in Denton. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know there's been a couple house shows back.
It's not like a house venue.
Okay, just
I don't even...
Just like a small, like,
they don't live
you have to know get in thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any favorite alcohol?
Interesting question. I usually drink White Claw. It's like...
The questions on this list get really weird.
Yeah. I usually drink like seltzers because it's like low in sugar and stuff. I try to stay away from sugar.
Well, alright, so you have to you have a pack of White Claw, and you have to choose a flavor. You have all of them
Watermelon.
from... Okay, yeah. See, I'm a black cherry person if I gotta choose a White Claw. Alright.
It's the most like potent flavor, but I don't like cherry flavor.
No, they all taste... some
they're all like
comedian...
such a hint of it. Black cherry is more flavorful.
Like, I heard White Claw described as this, and it cracked me up because every time I drink it, it makes me laugh. Some comedian described it as this. It was described as domestic violence while screaming at a random fruit flavor from the other room.
Yeah.
It's just like, God damn it, strawberry! What? That's way too extreme. But yeah, that's how it tastes. Because it's just so self. It's just. I also describe Topo Chico as angry water. So
Yeah, I mean.
But all right, so what would you say is your favorite of the local house venues, or some of the, like, what would you say is your favorite, like, intimate venue is?
The Liberty DIY house isn't really like a thing or are they? I don't know if they...
I mean, I definitely know the place you're talking about. I don't know if they're still going or anything.
Well, they're my buddies. I'm not, like, Liberty DIY is kind of like this, like, it's also this, like, recording, like, situation, but, like, that was for a long time. I mean, I haven't been able to go to house shows for a while, and I have, like, memory issues, so I can't really remember, like, any, like, names of any house venues or anything like that.
So, what would you say your favorite local band is? Local could be like
I really like Levi Cobb.
Oh, yeah, Big Smoke. Yeah. Matt Farmer has me talking with them because he's the drummer for them. They're supposed to come on the podcast. I'm booking for season 4, and so I think they're going to be on.
Cool.
Yeah, but they're going to be good. Any others?
Well, not a band, but I love Matt Grigsby.
Oh yeah, Matt Grigsby's supposed to be coming on also.
Cool.
That's the nice part about it, and as I've said before, it's very incestuous. So like all these members is like, hey, you should check out my other band. And it's just like, oh well.
It's like,
yeah, it's a fun spot. So, what's been one of the better shows that you've been to since COVID's been back?
Better shows I've been to? Oh, you mean since COVID's been gone?
Back. Yeah, well, since we've been back from COVID. Yeah, that's what I meant.
I was like, COVID's back.
Well, I mean, there is new strains. There are new strains of it, so.
Yeah, there are. There's a Delta variant. All right, let's see.
Because the Acid Carousel Pearl Earl show was really good.
Oh yeah, I just went to that one. I was like, I think that's probably... I had a show that night, so
that
I
was
didn't
so
get
crazy
to make all of it. And like,
where was the show?
It was at Red's Yard.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Joe told me that he's or you told me you saw Joe at that show.
No, yeah, we hung out and
Yeah.
stayed for a bit. It was cool.
Yeah, because we saw each other that night at Rubber Gloves briefly. Man, that was.
He brought like home cooked food.
Oh yeah. Well, do you not know how Joe works? That's how he operates.
It's been a while since I've had his food.
Yeah, most of the time whenever we go over for band practice, it's just like, hey, I made Asian cooked pork butt and rice. You want some?
That's so precious to me.
Oh, it's delicious. It's so good. It's so good. All right, so when did you start performing?
When I was 14.
What was the show?
It was that.
Shit, you told me that.
Yeah.
Sorry. If you haven't been telling, I can't tell. Alcohol. Alright, so, Miranda, what song will we be going into for song 3?
For song 3, isn't that Reach For Me? Yeah, Reach For Me.
I don't know all the names of the songs.
Yeah, I don't know, like I...
So wait, let's go over the top, because we did 5, so 1 was...
Waiting. Heaven Only Knows. I have memory issues. It's hard for me. I don't really like to do that.
It's okay. We don't actually have to know this information. We have the recorded files. All right. So we're going into the fourth song, and
Reach For Me. Is that
yes.
the next one?
So, yeah. I probably have like alcohol issues. That's why. Alright, so we are going into Reach For Me. This is Miranda Kennedy. We are still at Audio Carnage Podcast.
Try to tell you with words, honey, not that I could. Believing in you, baby, it's where it's at. You make me feel so good. Yeah, just sit down and take a load off. This one's for you. Let me take you in and give you love like you never knew. Ooh, 'cause I love you. Well, don't you
Alright, welcome back to Audio Carnage Podcast. We are still here with Miranda Kennedy. You just heard Reach For Me. So Miranda, what shows do you have coming up in the next near future?
This Saturday the 17th, I'm doing a fundraiser for Tanya's, what is that? It's pretty much like a fundraiser for music lessons scholarship.
Tanya from Tanya and the Hardings.
Yeah. And I think we're going to be like helping kids write songs. It's going to be really cool. And then on the 22nd, I have a show in Coppell. I can't remember. It's at a restaurant. I'll have that on my social media soon. All of these dates. And then on the 24th, I'm playing Rusty's Taco here in Denton from 7 to 9. And then I'll be like moving stuff around from Portland to Denton and back because I'm moving there.
Yeah, the process of moving. Yeah,
I'm in the process of moving. But I'm playing a show here on the 1st at J&J's on August 1st, and that is my last show.
So that's the last show you have on the books. I'm assuming once you get everything settled, I'm assuming you're gonna start like trying to book gigs all around the Portland area.
Oh yeah, I'm already gonna be booking a show at a winery out there, and but yeah, the last show around here would be like on the 1st.
So, what do you have any like artists or any of the local musicians, or doesn't even have to be necessarily local, but like any people that you feel like you really want to shout out musically, or like artists, anything like that?
Yeah, well, like I mean, local. I think if we already like talked about that, like all my homies.
We've hit up a bunch of the house shows, but mostly it's like plug your friends' bands, plug your.
Yeah. My partner out in Portland, they're in a band called Ludlow, and they are like a fucking badass, like protest kind of like lyrical, melodic, passionate band. Like it's like some people call it folk, some people call it punk, some people like call it alternative rock or Americana is what they were saying, but it's just really good music, and it's really like important messages. They made some like they made like a really cool. They came out with a really cool music video recently too. And then there's also Doomscroll, who has been recently coming out with some badass shit. They're out of Colorado, Boulder, Colorado mainly. And yeah, that's all I can think of right now.
So where can we find you?
I am a little scattered on the internet, but you can find me on YouTube. Tiny Couch Music Productions has a lot of recordings of me. Also here. But Facebook is probably my most like used social media. I know it's a little old school. But yeah, once I can settle into Portland, like I'm hoping to kind of like build up more of like a accessible kind of situation with my music and record some stuff.
Miserable aspect of marketing the music.
Yeah,
it sucks, but you have to do a little bit of it.
I mean, you don't have to, and that's that shit. I just haven't. You want to I've been doing this since I was 14, and I've never promoted myself, and I still.
But if you want to be able to extend yourself to all the people who might not be
but why? I mean, like, what's the?
Well, because you might.
Why should I be louder than anyone else?
Well, you might reach that person because of that one YouTube ad you chased.
I guess that's just what I fear is like getting pushed onto some podium and I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Only worry about being you, and fortunately, you don't strike me as that.
It's just like I really don't feel like I don't know. Like I don't feel like the need to be like. If you go, look at me. Like I'm literally still making a living off. I would argue
that if you go up to a podium and you don't have anything to say, then what you say is you don't say anything, and that is the statement that you're saying.
But why am I even taking up the space then?
But
that's what marketing to me like feels like it's doing most of the time. Taking up
space. So some of the bands that helped influence us.
Not all marketing. I don't. We don't market ourselves.
I'm in the process where I'm about to have to drop a lot of like my next effort isn't about the actual content. It is the marketing that I'm gonna have to worry about, And the only reason that I think that it's valid to worry about that concept of it, especially with somebody who's as talented as you, is because you might reach 2 or 3 people that your message really rings true to, like, that wouldn't have seen you if it wasn't for that, person that you paid who made that fucking ad, who promoted it on that site, that got to that. And,
yeah, you're right.
And that's the whole premise of that. So there is a value to the marketing side. The downside of the marketing side is it kills the creative aspect. So as long as you stay true to yourself musically, like the marketing aspect is, which also nice part. You can always outsource that. You can always be like, hey, I got like $200. Who wants to handle all the? I don't want to deal with the marketing. Market this. Market it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Well, also that small business.
It might just not be my style either. I don't really.
I would argue that
I just have things to say and record them, and like
I think that you are too talented not to market yourself. I think you're like. No. I genuinely think that
I appreciate
I think the effort you put into that little annoying aspect of this business would be a huge benefit, not to you, but to the world. I think that your voice needs to be heard a little bit more. So, so that's why I say work a little bit on, you don't have to necessarily do it, but find a friend. Like, for example, I have my boy Karthik from Radio Whore, and also Strong Work. Karthik. Mm-hmm. Karthik is going to be handling my marketing. Now, the nice part, he went to school for that stuff. So I'm giving money to my friend to handle the stuff I don't want to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's the only reason I even bring that up is because honestly, you are a talented individual and you have a very good voice. You have a good story to tell. So I want you to keep pushing forward and making that. So one more time, where can we find you?
On YouTube, Tiny Cash Productions is probably the best place to see the compilation, and also Facebook.
All right.
And Instagram, official Miranda Kennedy.
And then we're gonna work on more shit. All right, so Miranda, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I know it's been a long day. I know you're probably ready to go home and chill out because you've been making pizzas and then coming and jamming with me. So, but I really want to thank you for coming through and doing this because you're going to be gone soon, and I bet you're excited for that adventure. That's a whole other story.
So excited.
And then also, you gotta come. If I'm still in Denton in the next few years, you gotta come back at least once or twice, so that way you can do another episode. We can catch back up and see how everything's going, and then do a little bit more music. Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So we are getting out of here. This is Audio Carnage Podcast. This is Miranda Kennedy. Miranda, what is our final song that our audience is gonna be hearing?
It's called Fair.
So do you have anything that you would like to say about Fair before we get out of here?
All's fair in love.
And war, unfortunately. All right. Thank you. We are
for me in the middle of the night when we are all alone. There ain't nobody to stop us now, so come on, let me warm your bones. Yeah. Oh, honey, reach for me. I know you both been hurt so long, but we can make it right. so far apart, we'll keep mending that feeling, the big old broken heart. Ooh, could never tell you this, couldn't tell you just how I feel. Guess then again, maybe none of it is actually real. Believe in you, that would not make me feel free. It don't seem right for either you or me, so just sit right down. Stay a while, let me tell you about how much I love your style. Don't be afraid to scooch on over, you know I love to be your lover. Oh, believe in me, I believe in you. There is nothing that we could not do together, or even so far apart, we'll keep mending that feeling in our big old broken hearts. So just believe in me, like I believe in you. There is nothing